Hello everyone, and welcome to today's Bible story on the Tower of Babel, which I have titled Unified in Pride. Today's story is a super short one, so if you want, go into the Bible, Genesis chapter 11, 1 through 8 to read it for yourself. On a scale of 1 to 10, how does it make you feel when you have to try to communicate with someone whom you just can't understand because of a language barrier? Ever make a phone call to a customer service line to find the person on the other end, though they are very well versed in your language, may have a thick accent from their native language, and it makes it hard for you to communicate with them? If you're like me, those moments cause my anxiety to kick into high gear. I get sweaty palms and I will push that phone so hard against my face because I think miraculously that's going to help me understand more clearly. There are nearly 7,000 distinctive languages in the world. 7,000, like dang. And of those 7,000, I know one. But did you know there once was a time when all humans that occupied the earth spoke the same language? Pretty neat, huh? Well, imagine traveling anywhere in the world and anyone you passed you could talk to. Sounds like that would be a benefit to the human race. So whatever happened to make this change? Well, the Bible shares a little insight as to the events that led up to when communication was forever altered. In a city called Shinar, Noah's descendants gathered and they multiplied. Though they are descendants of a man who was a faithful servant of God, you will quickly find in this story that those who reside in Shinar are on their own mission in life. But what could they do that could possibly have caused one language to split into thousands? Well, they defied God. Early on in the Bible, God makes it clear that humans should not all gather in one place and should multiply and spread across the earth. In Genesis chapter 1, verse 28, God makes his plan for creation very clear. God told Adam and Eve to be fruitful and to multiply and to fill the earth. Not only did those living in Shinar not leave and fill the earth, they purposely did everything in their power to not be scattered. What brilliant plan did they have that would keep everyone in Shinar and prevent them from ever wanting to leave? Well, they built a beautiful city, of course. To add to their deliberate misbehavior, they built the city to show how great they were. So great that they thought they didn't need God. And they could even build a tower up to the heavens. Genesis chapter 11, verse 4 says, "Come, let us build ourselves a city with a tower that reaches the heavens, so that we may make a name for ourselves. Otherwise, we will be scattered over the face of the earth." Well, their pride and self-righteousness just grew and grew, and the Bible makes it very clear what was the main factor that allowed them to continue down this path of self-destruction. So what was it? It was unity. In Genesis chapter 11, verse 6, we read, "The Lord said, if as one people speaking the same language they have begun to do this, then nothing they plan to do will be impossible for them." They were all so completely intertwined and committed to the sole purpose, this sole goal, that their unity became unstoppable. God had to break the unity. He had to bring them back to their knees so that no matter what, they knew they needed God. So, what does God do? Well, in Genesis chapter 11, verse 7 through 8, we read, "Come, let us go down and confuse their language, so they will not understand each other." So the Lord scattered them from there all over the earth, and they stopped building the city. All right, now I'm not going to lie. This seems pretty harsh to me. I totally understand their hearts were in the wrong place, but to go as far as mixing up their language to force them to scatter and cover the earth seems a little overkill. That is where I would have previously stopped before I was on this journey to actually understanding the Bible. But I am not going to stop there, and instead I dug a little bit further to find more of an understanding of why God did this. So if God had not confused their language, And if they would have continued down the path of destruction that they were on, can you imagine what would have happened? Their pride, their sin, their desire to rule would have taken over. They would have lost sight of God. They could have been lost forever. But God loved them too much to let that happen. So he taught them a hard lesson. But that lesson saved them. Yeah, that's pretty incredible. Now, remember this story. Anytime that you are going through a hard time in your life where you feel like God could just step in and make this traumatic event go away, remember that maybe there's some good things to find in this lesson. Maybe this hard time is meant to bring us closer to God, to remind us that we need God, and to remind us that no matter what goes on in our life, God is always there. So sometimes those bad events are actually miracles in the making, because they keep us on the right track, and the right track to be in heaven for all of eternity. So this story that once started on my journey of thinking, what am I going to learn from this story again, seems to kind of be a common theme for me as I dig into these stories, but turned into finding something really awesome and something that I can relate to, because I am just like those people in Shinar. I think I can do things on my own, and I think a lot of times that I don't need God. And it's not true. So that is today's story. I really hope you learned something from it. Thank you for joining me, and we'll see you again next week for our next story.